Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the Team Leader Capacity Building. I hope you guys found the first and the second one useful, and let's see what we have for today. So, the topic of the day is the building phase. So, the last episode, what we saw was the team standards in general, and now we're going to go deep into each one. So, first, let's remind ourselves our objectives for the Team Leader Capacity Building. So, we have understanding our core, our role, getting the knowledge and skills to be the best team leaders, and to become experts in team management. So the thing that we saw the last episode was the team standards as an overview of everyone. So we have the building phase, the performing phase, and the closing phase, and we explained the objective, the timeline, and some tips and tricks of each phase. So now we're going to get one episode for each phase specifically so that we can understand each one of the phases in a more deeper level, and we can have tips and tricks specifically for each one. So of course we will start with the building phase. So as we saw the last time, the objective that the building phase has is to create the identity of the team, the rules and the behaviors, the goals for the team for the semester and the members individually, and to align the strategies and roles for each member. What is the timeline that we have for the building phase is from the moment that the members are allocated and the team is consolidated until the end of the onboarding. So don't delay this part, guys, because this is a very important and crucial moment of the team. If you succeed in the building phase, I assure you, your team experience will be good. If you fail the building phase, or if you neglect the building phase and don't do it, your team experience will not be so good. This is mainly based on experience and on 3 years already in Isaac, seeing a lot of teams fail and try. Do this part correctly, and your team will be amazing. So some tips and tricks that we said last time, and we're also going to end today with some other tips and tricks. So organize the team plan in the very first team meeting. You can do it in just one meeting. You get it over with, and you start your term totally aligned with your people, feeling like a team, and it's a really good feeling. Do not postpone it. Try to do it at the very beginning when you get the team. Do it in the first week so that you don't have members doing nothing or don't understanding what they have to do. And having all your one-to-ones in one day, it can also be in that very first week or the second week, so that you can have everything already, like from the very beginning. You align with each member also individually, and to create a clear agenda for it. So we're going to go now into each sub-phase of the building phase to understand what it means and when to do it. And as we go, I will also just say some tips maybe in the meantime. So in the team creation part, we have 3 steps: transition, core competencies and skills, and team rules. So in the transition phase, it means getting all the documents and the tools and understanding the achievements, learnings, and failures. So what does this mean? When you get elected as a team leader, you're not maybe the first team leader in that function. It may be that you have another person before you that was a team leader before. Maybe it was your own team leader, maybe it was another person. So this person already understands the current state, what things went wrong, what things went well, and they can transition that information to you. So when you get elected as a team leader, since you get elected until the term starts, try to get this transition either from your team leader or demand your VP to prepare you with this type of information. So if you were elected already in July and you still didn't have this part, go to your VP and tell them team standards. Then for the members, it's the first 2 weeks. So when the member gets into the team, they may be a new member, they may be a reallocated member. So don't neglect a reallocated member. Don't just assume that because they were in ISEC already, they know the function or they know what to do. Try to get all the documents for them, all the tools to explain what was done, what was achieved in the term before. The core competencies and skills. What does this mean? It means assessing yourself and your members in the level of competencies and actually creating a plan to develop them and providing the spaces to develop them. So we have core competencies in ISEC and we have skills in ISEC. This is something that I mentioned in the Clarity of Who episode, and we're going to have an episode entirely for core competencies and skills as well. So you will have this material. So here, try to assess yourself in which level you are in each one, and also your members, and how you can help them develop these core competencies and skills. How can you help them move from one level to another? So you can create a plan with them on what they want to develop and how to do it. So for you as a team leader, just before the term starts, try to assess yourself and try to create a plan for yourself, so that when the team starts, you already have worked on yourself in developing your competencies. And for the members, in the second week or in the first week, when you have the first one-to-one, so in the first one-to-one, assess with them what are the things that they want to develop in this experience, and set the goals for this development, and have an action plan of how it's going to happen. And lastly, we have the team rules. So here, in the first week of the team experience, in the first meeting, you can establish the team rules, setting the values, the non-negotiables, and the key behaviors for the team. It's a crucial thing. This will allow you to set the right expectations with your people. So for example, a non-negotiable can be always being punctual to a meeting, or a behavior can be always responding on the group. This type of things that some teams sometimes struggle with if you don't set the right expectations in the beginning. So establish them and then review them every team meeting. Just check if you're actually acting with your values and your behaviors. Let's go to team plan. So in the team plan, we have six, I think, sub phases. So we have the team purpose, the goals, the strategies, JD, the timeline, the budget, and the team development goals. There were 7. So in the team purpose, and here in the team plan, I really recommend you guys to do it in just one meeting. In the first meeting, you can go ahead and do all of this. So in the team purpose, okay, what does this mean? It means setting the personal purposes and the common purpose for the whole team. What is the ambition? What is the thing that you want to achieve as a team? Cool. So this can be a goal or an ambition, like growth, for instance. This can be an ambition and a team purpose. Or becoming the best team in Isaac in Morocco. This can be an ambition. So when will this happen? In the very first meeting, and you can review it monthly. Then for the goals, set a goal, like a numerical actual goal for approvals for every KPI and goal that you have. For accountability, so that you can actually understand if you're doing well or if you're not doing well during the whole term. And divide the goal in your members. Each member needs to have a goal, because if not, what are they doing? If I'm a member and I don't have a clear goal, how do I know what I need to accomplish? So set the goal for the team, set the goal for your members. In the very first meeting, you can do at least the goal of that month. Then the strategies. Okay, now we know what is the purpose, we know what is the goal, let's set the strategies to achieve this. So you can brainstorm and prioritize some actions that you can drive with your team, and you can do this before even starting in the first meeting. Before that, you can even research and plan during the transition as a team leader, and then you can check them with your team. Maybe it may be like also in the second team meeting. It doesn't need to be maybe the first one, but you need to co-create strategies, co-create actions. For the JD, this is very important. Each member needs to understand what is their job description. That's what JD means. So in the very first meeting that you have with each member individually, try to review with them if they understand what is their exact job description. What are the performance indicators that are gonna be used to track their performance? What are we gonna measure in them? For the timeline, just understand the timeline of the whole operation or the whole function. Allocate the strategies that you thought before into that timeline, because the team needs to know what is the focus each month and what are the actions that they're going to have for that focus. And when this is going to happen, it can happen also in the first week of each month. You can establish the timeline. For the budget, you as a team leader, you may also be allocated some budget for your team. So you need to understand what is the cost of running your product and what investments you can do. This is something that you will see in regards to each entity and to each local reality, because maybe your teams will not have a budget specifically. You can talk with your VPTM and your VP Finance to understand this part. And in the team development goals, what are the development aspects that the team will have? Okay, so how can each one of you contribute to that development? So if we want to develop ourselves in public speaking, every one of us, we want to be experts in this. Okay, how can we help each other to accomplish this? This is the whole team plan. So now we go to the individual plan, because we also need to plan for each person. So the first thing is the initial LDA. We need to assess the leadership development of each one before they start the experience, and it needs to happen right when they do the first one-to-one with you as a team leader. When they have their expat account, they go into expat, they do the LDA, so that we know what is the leadership development level that your member has, and the personal development plan, which basically will be the plan of the development that they want to have as a person, as an individual. And it can be in regards to everything that also was related to this. So the leadership qualities, the personal goals, the team development, like they can have a specific development plan for themselves to be able to also accomplish the team goal. So that's all for the building phase. So some tips and tricks so that we end this episode. Set aside a fixed time to create the values, behaviors, identity, and team purpose. And by this, I mean put 2 hours and make it 2 hours. Because if not, maybe some people are like, some members are getting super creative, or they are not convinced with the name. And then you're like, oh, well, we can check on the next meeting. And then the identity never happens. And we don't want this. So in one meeting, this needs to happen. So try to put a fixed time in this meeting. I don't know, if the meeting is 2 hours, we're going to have 1 hour for this part, for instance, or half an hour for this part, but try to be controlling it. Start the meeting by generating trust in the team. So in the first team meeting, try to do an activity of getting to know each other and making them be vulnerable. If they start with being vulnerable from the very beginning, it's going to be much easier for them to connect. Do not underestimate the clarity and understanding of the JD and actions they have to take forward. This is another tip that is very important. Never underestimate that they totally understand what they have to do. Just try to review with them in the first one-to-one. Another one is, one interesting activity can be determining the role of each one in the team. So for instance, in the first team meeting, you can establish, okay, what is my goal, my role as a person in this team? For instance, for me, Camila, I was always passion. I was always the one that had the role of being the passion of the team, because this is something that is very strong for me. So also in this way, you can see from the very beginning some strengths and weaknesses that your members have, how they complement each other, and they start to be feeling as a team. And the last one is, the strength of the team is only the sum of the strength of each member. So if you focus on each one's development plan and pushing each one of your members to be the best, in total you will be an amazing team. So some checklists so that you don't forget anything that we talked about today. Create the identity of the team and your 3 main values. Pick 3 so that it's very concise and rememberable. Set the team rules and the non-negotiables. Set the team purpose and the goals. Review the JD of each member and clarify the key performance indicators and measures of success. Set the strategies, timeline, and budget. Create the expat accounts for each member and make them fill the LDA and collect those results. And establish a personal development goal for each one of your members. So lastly, we have the Blue Book. This is a booklet with all of this information if you want to check it out also, and if you don't want to wait for the next episode. And that's it for today's, guys. See you in the next episode.